Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you this morning. It may be Sunday, but you know what? I love the smell of crypto in the morning. You're damn right. Crypto apocalypse is running wild. We got two major crypto battles. We're going to take a look at the SEC suing U.S. exchanges. We're also going to take a look at 180 days, 82 days till XRP Moon. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $838 billion market cap for crypto. We're off by 2.9%. Good morning, everybody. Bitcoin, 16,600 plus right now. Ethereum, 1178 and change. Tether market cap is 66.037 billion. That's where we're at this morning. XRP is 35 cents. We're still off by 9.5% on the 7-day right there. Let's take a look at this. If you haven't done it, this is the new Ledger Stacks that's out, and it was created by the guy who invented the iPod. And I'm excited about it, one, because you still get all the security with Ledger. I've been using them forever. Was a customer before they were a sponsor. But now it looks like we're going to get that functionality we've been looking for too, right? The ubiquitous experience where every time I pull out my Ledger, I'm not scared to death to use it. I am so excited to get my pre-order. Click the link below to get the best special possible. And don't forget, with exchanges falling down and collapsing all around us, the home of the altcoins, it's Uphold, baby. Yeah, anything to anything. And that's a great exchange. And I absolutely love using them as well. Love them as a sponsor too. Check out the link below. They also have staking opportunities. Even if you've been a customer, check that out and see if it's right for yourself. Look at this. And we talked about exchanges. Breaking, Binance itself holds 82% of all BNB in existence. How about that? You know, Binance has taken some shots here. They were recently on CNBC. There were remarks made by CZ about Kevin O'Leary, which, you know, probably are more close to being accurate than anything. I'm not going to get into what they were exactly. However, it was a little troubling on the answers that CZ had when it was time to talk about the audit and accountability of the reserves that they have on their platform. He says they're there. And then there was Mazars who did the attestations, I guess they call it, for Binance. And then they pulled information off of a site. You know, there are questions everywhere, and as we move through this space, we need to understand that there are really two crypto battles taking place here, and it is on the retail investor front with exchanges and USD Tether, and then there's the institutional side and the wholesale side, which involves financial institutions and banks, right? So two-front war going on here. New York regulator says banks must seek approval for crypto business. Now, we know that Brian Brooks, when he was the head of the OCC, passed regulation that allowed federally chartered banks to custody crypto. So we will watch this closely, but again, two very important fronts to this battle, these two battles going on here, or two battles in the war, if you'd like to say it that way. And listen, I have something for us to look here. One, I thought I'd share a visual of my takeaway of what John Deaton has been trying to tell all of us for so long. The fight needs to be unified. I ran out of characters. This is the ultimate play to take control of crypto space by the SEC and Gensler. I'm calling out to Jake Chervinsky, Perry Ann Boring, Kim.com, and Brad Garlinghouse has been carrying this message too about being unified and getting rid of tribalism. Let's take a look at this diagram, because if you're a visual learner like me, then you will understand what regulation by enforcement is really about. Take what John Deaton has told us, and what Gary Gensler has even said, basically, that he's going to go after the exchanges. And if the SEC sues U.S. exchanges, then you imagine the cascading effects of that. The U.S. exchanges will be forced to delist assets off their platform. But which ones? This is the same thing that happened to XRP. The exchanges were forced to delist the asset just because Ripple was being sued over XRP. Broaden the scope of that now to a U.S. exchange being sued, saying there are securities on your platform, but SEC refusing to tell you which ones they are. Immediately, you're going to see crypto exchanges go into a delisting mode, and then that is going to cause them to dump the assets. And when they do, you're also going to see the customer base flock to leave the platform because of the uncertainty that's been created. Exchanges will dry up and go out of business if it goes for too long, and it won't take long. Now add in the idea and understanding that USD Tether has been called into question. And yes, the Department of Justice is looking at an investigation of them right now, according to Bloomberg. Imagine them being sued, USD Tether, or even just issued subpoenas. 99% of cryptos could go away in this scenario. Now, some of you would knee-jerk reaction go, hey, United States ain't the only place I can get crypto. You're absolutely right. And that leaves the retail investor to do exactly what Gary Gensler wants all of us to do, is to begin to move as we are cattle, to be corralled into one of a couple places, because your only place left to stand if this all plays out, and it does appear that we are headed that way. The only place left to stand will be with exchanges outside the U.S. and on cold storage, and certainly to find yourself within assets that allow you ways to get out of it other than USD Tether. Again, this is a great way to suffocate 99% of the cryptos in the market that are actually operating as an unregistered ICO. You know, the way Ether does? In this respect, you could see the suffocation and the vacuum created in the market. Yes, there will be exchanges around the world, but where will the liquidity come from to get someone the confidence that they can get in and out of these assets and altcoins the way that they're doing today if USD Tether goes down too? And then once Gary Gensler has all of us corralled in just one of two places, either some exchange outside the U.S. or on cold storage, the sun comes out. And what does the sun coming out look like? The sun coming out looks like broker-dealer licenses for exchanges and/or the exchanges being bought pennies on the dollar because the SEC has forced their collapse, acting in regulatory capture, I believe, for the central monopolist, as Gary Gensler calls it. And then when the sun comes out, you'll be doing it just like you do when you buy stocks off of Fidelity. You do not go to the New York Stock Exchange to buy your stocks. What I see here is Gary Gensler's winning, isn't he? And meanwhile, people are fighting over maximalism and tribalism. It's quite disparaging. Now let's go to the institutional side now that we've looked at the retail side of this. Battle number 2 is the financial institutions and the central banks of the world. Kazakhstan's central bank recommended to making in-house CBDC available as early as 2023. Commercial operation introduced 2025. The next couple years are going to be absolutely transformative of this space. Nathan Price reminds us here, Cayman Islands thinks Ripple is a relevant payment type, and boy, do they ever. If you go into their report here from their monetary authority, shout out to Nathan for this, they cite along with SWIFT, FedWire, BACS, CHAPS, SIPS, Faster Payments, GPS, OPIX, and Pega, and Ripple. And here again, stated in the list, along with Fedwire and Swift and Chaps and Sips. It's right here, Ripple. When I think about this two battles in the war going on here, and I tell myself, when I've told everyone on the channel that I have consolidated my holdings for the time being to a small handful of assets that I believe survived this moment, this makes me feel good to see this, because I don't know what will happen. I'm not trying to pretend like I do. I'm just sharing my digital perspectives of what I see and what I believe gives me the most confidence that I can make it out the other side of this transformational time that we are going through, whether I agree with all of it or not. Then we can't forget the power of this. The global economics and the global geopolitical position of the world and the state that it's in right now. Take a listen to this. We've talked about it plenty, but listen.
Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, a political union representing 42% of the global population, 26% of the global GDP. 12 more countries are applying to join, including Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Iran, Kazakhstan, and Indonesia. If successful, then the BRICS group will control a huge amount of global food, energy, manufacturing, and metals production, making it the biggest and the most important political and economic alliance on Earth. Not to mention, it will have over 50% of the world's population and around 40% of the global GDP if those new members come on board. A new world order is coming, and its name is BRICS. Subscribe now. See you next time.
Now, we've been talking about this for a long time. And again, there's the retail-facing side of this that we're dealing with, Gensler and exchanges and regulation through enforcement. But then there is the use case, utility side of this. XRP is absolutely, like the Cayman Islands has cited, suited to work inside an environment like what BRICS is creating. And we know that Saudi Arabia has agreed to use the Chinese yuan through the Shanghai Exchange for the purchase and sale of oil for the first time since the petrodollar agreement. Here's another evidence here that Ripple and XRP may be cited in this BRICS new financial payment system that's being created to obfuscate SWIFT and U.S. sanctions, because that's the truth of that on the geopolitical level too. In 2016, the Central Bank of Russia conducted research on cross-border payments using Ripple platform and also openly mentioning the use of XRP. You can see it all right here. I don't need to read to you. They're telling you what it's all about. We know what it's about. It's the Bank of Russia. You think all of this is mutually exclusive to itself? I do not. And you're welcome to if you'd like to. But I do not. Do you think this is mutually exclusive, that they applied for a license in the Republic of Ireland so they could have access to all the European jurisdictions? Does it fall hand in hand with Ripple orchestrates remittances into Africa from 19 European nations? Or how about the private ledger that Ripple has created for central banks that are already developing on it? The state that we are in is absolutely terrifying and scary to me to go through. I have an enormous amount ventured and risked in this assets class, in this digital space. And where I stand today, not financial advice to anyone. We are all individuals. We all have different circumstances. We all have different goals. We all have different challenges. We all have different viewpoints about how strongly we feel about something, and that is a good thing. And everyone should assess it for themselves. This is not an endorsement. I'm just saying to you, and I've become comfortable saying to all of you and sharing my digital perspectives. And one more digital perspective here just happens to come from Egg Crypto, and it's not financial advice from him, me, or anyone else. He takes a look at the chart here and says the last cycle from the up to the down, from the up to the down, we're looking at it, that was a 790-day cycle, right? So what we have to pay attention to here is if the charts begin to rhyme or duplicate what they've done in history's past, repeat it, then what we could be looking at is another 182 days till the 1st of June when we would start to make our way to a mooning mission again. And wouldn't that be interesting if things wrap up in March, give us at least some clarity to where the asset XRP can begin to move forward, not only outside of the U.S., but inside the U.S. And I would say that would have the makings for the fundamental news and the technical news to come together for exactly what he's talking about here, a possible moon mission. That's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.